And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. As the Filament Fest continues, the flare likelihood is still quite high. We've got new sunspots in the east. We've got stories from NASA about asteroids. And we've got 2, possibly 3 coronal mass ejections about to arrive at any moment. An incredibly slow solar wind, an incredibly low pressure environment around planet Earth. It's the Daily Space Weather Show. So thanks for tuning in. Congratulations on realizing the Smash News Network least busted name in news exists. This is the past 24 hours. From SDO depicting ionized iron and ionized helium. Again, there's a filament fest going on. You're going to see a crown prominence eject. It's kind of behind the southern polar region when it makes its way out. Huge filaments there around the Earth scale location as well. You can see that dark absorption feature down there near the south polar region. Here's a closer view of that massive filament. And there really are a large share of filaments currently on the Earth-facing portion of the solar disk. There goes that minor CME starting out as a crown prominence right there. Here's the equatorial view, and again, we've got a new sunspot rose in the northeast as forecast yesterday. That sunspot just moving past Earth-facing longitudes there. That is the second most likely place to see a large flare. The most likely place being in the upper right corner there. That's a setting group there, that sunspot group. At least in my opinion, still more likely to produce an M or even an X-class solar flare event. Here's just the northern hemisphere, and you can see more massive plasma filaments up there. Just moving into the directly Earth-facing longitudes. Also a huge plasma filament now becoming a prominence over there in the northwest. So plenty of stuff going on. Some solar plasma on the way, and it's really going to make a signal when it shows up because the solar wind is currently so weak. We're also going to do a cosmic ray report today. So by the way, in the meantime, don't forget to press the like button. Yeah, press the like button. Take a moment to press the like button. Or if you've already done that, then press share, leave a comment, etc. We're only the most comprehensive daily space weather show in the known universe. We only show the most detailed solar imagery anywhere. We even do meteorology to empower our viewers to forecast their weather not only in space, but also on Earth. So thanks to our new subscribers over on YouTube. Again, don't forget to press the share button. If you're an influencer, drop us a line. We would be more than happy to appear on your channel. Of course, lots of people have lots of questions about space weather as the importance of private space travel continues. Again, some exciting stories coming out today about things like asteroids. We'll get to it. It's a busy day for space weather. Coronal mass ejections and coronal hole high-speed streams are on the way, about to arrive at any moment, basically. And we should see quite significant signals when those events do show up at Earth. These videos are brought to you in part by the Smash Team. At smashomash.com/Smash Team, you too can sign up for email alerts so you don't miss videos like this one. We send out those email alerts because we create solutions to problems. Since people weren't getting notifications about the videos, so you can get email alerts about the videos, that could help. I don't know. And yeah, these videos are brought to you in part by especially Gold Smash Team members. Without them, these videos might not exist anymore. Help to offset our massive annual operating losses by supporting the channel by becoming a member of the Smash Team. Smashomash.com/Smash Team launched back in October of 2021. And you can see the Twitch stream there going off in the left side of the screen there. Get additional content by becoming a Gold or Silver Smash Team member. There's even additional content for Bronze level Smash Team members. We do send out disaster alerts and so on in email format. Smashomash.com/SmashTeam. Also visit our affiliate links. One of them is the Hemp Lucid link. If you're in the market for CBDs, mushroom gummies, stress, sleep, or immune stacks, you can save a bundle on those, $15 each, or save even more by getting the full stack package shown right here. The CBD Peppermint Lip Balm is back in stock, even CBD for your pets. So visit the links below the video in the description. Help support the channel, help keep these videos existent, publicly visible, and free for all to view. Yesterday we got some comments about our spaceware collection on the Amazon shop. It's amazon.com/shop/smashomash. And one of the products that we've worn many times on the channel is the radiation reflecting hat. Yeah, that hat. It reflects electromagnetic radiation, folks. And it's on sale, 20% off of various items here, various clothing items. Get yourself ready for travel to space, or perhaps to look directly at the sun, as there is an annular eclipse coming in just 3 days on October 14th. So pick up your eclipse glasses from our Amazon shop, rush them to your door. Multiple different sets of eclipse glasses there, all kinds of stuff to wear to space, from hazmat suits to camouflage pants to scrunchies to Hawaiian shirts. So check out the spaceware collection there. Today's featured product, again, the radiation reflecting hat. Save 20%, only $12 now for the electromagnetic radiation reflecting bucket hat. Cheers. Today's featured product from the Redbubble shop is also 20% off. In fact, everything at the merch shop is 20% off. So pick up your merch items there. This one can help the channel out and help you get blank looks at parties. Yeah. Tell your friends and foes not to pole vault the caldera. This public service message brought to you at massive personal risk and expense by Smash staff and I. If you're going on a volcanic vacation, leave your vault pole at home. It could be unhealthful to become a part of the lithosphere. I don't know. Maybe you're an earth elemental or a fire elemental, and you'll be unaffected by that. But it's generally not recommended to pole vault the caldera, so please don't. It's also got the URL for our homepage as well as the YouTube channel. Again, save 20% site-wide on all the Smasho merch. You can find links below this video to the Redbubble shop, the Amazon shop, the Hemp Lucid shop, the Smash Team, and the homepage at smashomash.com. And welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Again, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. We're frankly surprised that you found it. Thanks again to our new YouTube subscribers, and let's get back to space. Here's the past. Yesterday plus today, that is, an SDO continuum depicting sunspots, and we've got some sunspots setting there in the northwest and the southwest, while several new sunspots rise and form in the east. So here's another group that's just forming right now, right in there. This group has gained magnetic complexity, so it's another likely spot to see a large solar flare. This sunspot group has evolved and then evaporated a little bit. This group has grown, and a large massive sunspot has risen in the northeastern limb. Here's the colorized magnetogram for that same period. That is October 10th and October 11th to date. We did have some disasters occurring on Earth as well. We'll get to it. First, volcanoes. So these are the erupting volcanoes. Stromboli continues to produce some spattering, pulsating short-term lava fountains at the North Crater. More lava flows on the Sierra del Fuoco. Klyuchevskoye now back into an intensified mode. Klyuchevskoye, located on the Kamchatka Peninsula. Strombolian activity there occurring within the summit vent. Minor lava fountains there. Please don't pole vault the caldera. Sakurajima, producing a 9,000-foot ash plume on the Isle of Kyushu, Japan. Mount Ibu, 7,000-foot ash plume over Halmahera. 11,000-foot ash plume over the Lesser Sunda Islands from Luatolo's explosive activity. It's at flight level 110. Flight level 140 over East Java from Semeru as it explodes. Dakono, also on Halmahera, exploding. Flight level 070, 7,000-foot ash plume. No eruption from Katmai. Volcanic resuspension has occurred on the Alaskan Peninsula. Fuego in Guatemala. mild explosive activity. Another reminder to not pole vault the caldera. Sporadic emissions of volcanic ash there from Fuego. New emissions from Nevado del Ruiz, volcanic ash not observed at Revenador. And a 24,000-foot ash plume coming from Sabancaya in Peru. It's exploding. It's a flight level 240. Don't pole vault that caldera either. Next, earthquakes, and there was one devastating earthquake that happened here, likely to cause thousands of deaths once again. Not good, folks. That's the past 90 days. And check it out, there was a 6.3 in a heavily populated area of Afghanistan, near the city of Herat. So just northwest of that city. And look at that. That is a legit city, folks. In Afghanistan, there's got to be a lot of people there. So there you go. 6.3 magnitude quake. Lots of buildings turning to rubble once again. That 6.3 came in at 0 dark 41 universal time this morning. That is suboptimal. We'll cite the rest of the quakes of a 5 or greater magnitude. So that one's going to be in the news today. That certainly caused wanton destruction. If you got multiple aftershocks there as well, that pretty much came out of nowhere. 6.3 magnitude quake at Afghanistan, followed by a 5.0 only about 9 minutes later. Next, a 5.0 strikes the Mariana Islands area. That is at 1:50 universal time this morning. The Bellini Islands had a 5.5 at 3:54 universal time this morning, way down south in the Southern Ocean there. So pretty uncommon spot for an earthquake there, that 5.5 at the Bellini Islands. Tonga had a 5.1 at 4:37 this morning. And last but not least, Taiwan had a 5.2. That was at 10:36 universal time this morning. And let's get back to space, as we've got some more fresh imagery for you. There you go. There is the 171 angstroms 24-hour SDO video. Again, we have multiple places to see solar flares. We could see them in the northeastern limb. We could see them right around the center disk there with that magnetically complex sunspot. And we could see large flares in the northwestern limb. There's a full disk zoom for you. And let's talk stats. The 10.7 centimeter radial flux is now at 164 solar flux units. There is the 1-year graph of the radial flux depicted by that black line. Solon.info is the source of that data. The red line is the sunspot number. And Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard not forecasting anything. A little bit of geomagnetic unrest in the forecast early in the day tomorrow. That is from a coronal hole high-speed stream. We're expecting 2 to 3 CME impacts today and into tomorrow. So NOAA only expecting a coronal hole high-speed stream there. They're expecting the peak of the activity there around between 3 and 6 universal time tomorrow morning, October 12th. We're expecting CME impacts to arrive at any moment, at least 2 of them, possibly 3, between now and midday tomorrow. So, and wait till you see the solar wind speed. It's ridiculous. It's creating an extremely low pressure environment around planet Earth. So these are the past 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space, and we're showing the density for once, because the density is so incredibly low because of low speed and extremely low density solar wind. So that's not normally what we show. This depicts low density in white and high density plasma in blue. And again, we've got an extremely low density environment, a very low density solar wind, and an incredibly slow solar wind. In fact, it's solar minimum slow. So again, we normally just show the magnetohydrodynamic pressure, and we'll show it today. Don't worry, we'll show it. And you're going to be like, huh? There you go. There's the magnetohydrodynamic pressure around the Earth for the past 4 hours. There is none. So Again, extremely slow and extremely diffuse solar wind right now being detected at Lagrangian point 1. So yeah, that's the geospace magnetosphere movie. And here's the ground magnetic perturbations map, and the model is not depicting a lot of ground magnetic perturbations, shall we say. So there's the past 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from the ground, and only tiny changes happening to Earth's B field there. With the solar wind being as weak as it is, the system's trying to reach static equilibrium, and it's doing a fine job of it for the past 4 hours. Next, we're going to do a cosmic ray report because, well, solar wind being as weak as it is, let's see what's going on in terms of cosmic ray flux. So here's the Apatity neutron monitor, and it's got a tiny downtick. It's almost flat over the past 30 days. A small downtick at Apatity neutron monitor for the past 30 days. Barentsburg neutron monitor, similar, slight, just a shade down from where it was 30 days ago. You can see two great Forbush decreases here. Those are geomagnetic storms. And let's go much farther south to Athens, Greece. So there's the Athens neutron monitor. And Athens showing a slight uptick, almost flat there at Athens as well. Small uptick at the Athens neutron monitor for the past 30 days. Let's go much farther south to the North American neutron monitor there at Mexico City. Mexico City showing a tiny downtick similar to Apatity and Barentsburg. Past 30 days at Mexico City, almost flat, slightly down in cosmic ray flux. And if you'd like a cosmic ray forecast, here's one. Cosmic rays are going to decrease in the coming 2 years, even slightly further. So next we're going way back up north to Oulu, Finland. There's the Oulu neutron monitor, and you can see that slight downtick at Oulu for the past 30 days. And this graph is great because it does show cosmic ray data all the way back to 1965. And as you can see here, and this agrees with the other monitors as well, lowest cosmic ray flux since 2004. So if you're banking on a grand solar minimum, you're doing some bad banking. This does not back that up. In fact, nothing backs it up. If you're banking on a grand solar minimum, you're bankrupt. So anyway, Oulu neutron monitor there featuring a slight downtick, almost flat, but a hair down there since the past 30 days. And let's go way down south to the land of Antarctica. Antarctica DOMB showing a small downtick, and DOMC showing a slightly larger downtick. So cosmic rays are slightly down over the past 30 days, but not very much. Just a shade down. And as you can see with these previous solar maxima, cosmic ray flux stays low for a while. And it does have a tendency to reach its lowest point when the sun is at its highest point of activity. It's not a coincidence. These are inversely proportional things, folks. Sunspot number and cosmic ray flux are absolutely inversely proportional, going back decades, probably over 1,000 years at least, and who knows how far, but at least about 1,000 years. Next, we're going to look at the only cosmic ray point source that's known, and because there's something going on with it. Yeah. So Cygnus X3 is actually the star Deneb, and X3 is an X-ray. It's a high-mass X-ray binary. It's a massive object orbiting a massive star. I'll just leave it at that. And if you want to read more about it, you can head to smashomash.com/forum. The cosmology section has a large article with many posts about Cygnus X3, the massive X-ray binary celestial pole star Deneb. It is the brightest intrinsic object visible from Earth, and I want you to look at this part of this graph right here. See this part of this graph? Cygnus X3 has been at its highest X-ray state ever measured throughout the year this year, and that goes back 18 years. So that graph goes, that is hard X-rays, by the way, not cosmic rays. Cosmic rays are particles. These are photons in the form of X-ray frequency photons. Hard X-rays there it's from the Neil Gorell Swift Bat X-ray Observatory. If you want to monitor these objects yourself, That's where it is, the SwiftBat Hard X-ray Transient Monitor. Just type in Control F, type in SIG space X-3. You'll get to entry number 952. Click on that, and those are the hard X-rays from the only known cosmic ray point source. So there is that's the 30 days. Here's the daily graph. And then there is the historic. And again, seeing the highest levels of X-ray flux ever measured from Cygnus X3. So it's a super important object, both from the perspective of climate, also from the perspective of space weather. Cygnus X3, folks, if you don't know about it, again, you can read all about it at smashomash.com/forum. Probably the most important star system in the whole galaxy, short of the sun itself. You're actually part of this stellar system, folks, because especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, and most of you are, this object has been sending physical particles through your brain throughout your entire life. It's pretty weird, and again, it's been the highest levels of X-ray flux ever measured from Cygnus X3. Next, moving to the planetary K-index. An average of global geomagnetism, and it is quite low. So coming up off the lows here, but it is 1.33 is the planetary K-index, an average of global geomagnetism, and we're expecting possible geomagnetic storms as high as a KP6 plus a couple of times in the next day or two. So I'm pretty convinced that there is some plasma on the way. We showed why in our videos a couple of days ago. Coronal mass ejections. They were kind of stealthy, but hey, sometimes folks are wrong with this, so we'll see what happens. And check out the solar wind. Shockingly low speeds. So the solar wind speed made it all the way down into the 260s. Look at that, 266 kilometers per second there. Some of the slowest solar wind that we've ever covered on the channel. And at the same time, the solar wind density there was barely a tenth of a proton per cubic centimeter. So 0.13 protons per cubic centimeter there as measured by the ACE at Lagrangian 0.1. Incredibly diffuse and incredibly slow solar wind continues. Solar wind density here below 1 proton per cubic centimeter. Solar wind velocity below 300 kilometers per second. GOES magnetometers here are smooth. Expect to see some spiky readings on those as plasma is likely to start arriving basically at any moment. Also, Earth has not moved into the new sector boundary yet. Check it out, Earth is still in that South Pole current sheet. So that can have something to do with that sunspot rising in the northeast, but in any case, Earth is about to snap into a North Pole current sheet at any moment, in which case the plasma regime could change rapidly, and we are expecting it to change rapidly. Look for that happening throughout the day today. So that's our top ecliptic plane field plot. It depicts the polarity of the heliospheric current sheet. Earth is a little bit late for its snapping into that small North Pole current sheet. You can see it there in green. Stereo B is already in the North Pole current sheet, and Earth is only an hour or so out, I would suspect. Barring sudden growth of sunspots or sudden shrinkage of sunspots in the northern or southern hemisphere, respectively. Anyway, here's our line of sight field plot. And there you got the solar B field in blue and north and south polar fields in green and red, respectively. The grayscale depicts the photosphere gong magnetogram. And let's move to coronal holes. So we are expecting, and NOAA is as well, expecting a high-speed stream from this coronal hole system right here. It is a well-defined trans-equatorial coronal hole. And we do have some North Pole coronal holes here rotating in the southeast, and some South Pole coronal holes rotating in the northeast. So down here we've got north, these are south, and these are south. The ones up in the upper left there, your solar northeastern limb, those will become more well-defined in the coming couple of days. And this North Pole one is looking like it's growing. It's not really growing necessarily. It's just becoming more in view because the corona is bumpy. That's why. So that's yesterday plus today from SDO. And let's move to sunspots. So sunspot number here came up a little bit since yesterday. We can expect this to actually be kind of flat in the next 24 hours or so because of that setting spot in the northwest. So that's going to drop off the list. But some new sunspots are going to come onto the list. So I think it's actually going to go up a little bit because I think the net number of sunspots is rising slightly, even though that massive sunspot is setting in the northwest. Here's our flare probability and scoreboard. And so we've got multiple places where we could see large flares now. So around the eastern quadrant, we could also see a large flare from 3460, and we could also see a large flare from this setting series of groups here, 3451, 3452, and 3458. Also, 3454 looks somewhat magnetically complex. Let's take a look at sunspots from SDO's perspective. So here we've kept the 171 angstroms and added the SDO continuum. That's great at showing you the active regions as well as the sunspots themselves. Now we'll subtract 171 angstroms. There's just a 24-hour video with SDO continuum. So there is one new group to get a name right here. That one just formed. This sunspot group will lose its name in the next 24 hours. And let me go back here for a minute. I think there are two more sunspots that'll get named up here as well. So it'll be pretty close. We may see a small dip or a small rise in the sunspot number, but it won't be a major change in the sunspot number in the coming 24 hours. Next is the SDO magnetogram for completeness. We've got lots more information to blast through here, so let's not tarry. And let's bring back old schooly terms like tarry. Who says tarry? I don't know. We should start saying tarry. What do you think? Let us know in the comments if you think we should bring back old-timey terms. Not bringing back old-timey terms is hogwash, poppycock, and perhaps malarkey. Anyway, there's the ghost proton flux for the past 3 days. No spikes in that, but expect spikes in that. The forecast for solar energetic particle events continues. There is a magnetic channel about to open between Earth and Sun, and that will significantly increase the likelihood of proton events. X-ray flux here kind of weak in the past 24 hours. 2 M-class flares occurred yesterday. None so far today. Largest flare today so far was a C6.65. And here come flares from SDO. So again, multiple spots to see large flares in the coming 24 hours. This northwestern limb, this area right here, just moving past Earth-directed solar center longitudes. And then these regions up here are also capable. And let's take a brief look at star charts and cosmology and the astronomy photo of the day and so forth. Here is a star chart for Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. That is from skyandtelescope.org. And right now, we've got the sun just peeking over the horizon there, chasing Mercury, the Moon, Venus, and Jupiter across the ecliptic. Here's your solar system forecast. That's where things are today. We'll advance this 1 week, as we're wont to do on the channel. Here's where things will be in a week. We will have a crescent waxing moon by the 18th. New moon coming on the 15th of October. Next, some exciting stuff from NASA. Multiple things from NASA coming out. First of all, today, the unveiling of the OSIRIS-REx asteroid samples from the asteroid Bennu will be revealed live. So unfortunately, we won't be covering that one today, but you can watch that. It'll be live streamed on YouTube and so on NASA's channel. You can find links on space.com, NASA's news webpage. So check that out perhaps. And also the Psyche mission. So yeah, excited about the Psyche mission as well. Psyche, it's about a 200-kilometer wide, nearly entirely metallic asteroid. So it's a pancake-shaped asteroid, and there's a mission about to head out to it called the Psyche mission. There's a great article on Wikipedia if you want to read about 16 Psyche, a nearly entirely metallic asteroid. It orbits between Jupiter and Mars, as you might expect. It's 157 miles in diameter, about 253 kilometers. There's the view that's from 20 degrees south. Three-dimensional image from the Very Large Telescope of Psyche. You can find an article on space.com about that as well. There's an artist's rendition of the Psyche mission. And the asteroid is believed to be made almost entirely of iron and nickel. Very interesting. Metallic asteroid will update our scientific understanding. So some folks believe that to be the core of a failed planet. And it is one of the 10 largest asteroids in the solar system. The Psyche mission, it's going to be launching later this month. We are expecting it to miss its first launch window because of unfavorable weather conditions. And a new type of thruster will be used, a xenon thruster. Again, you can read all about that at space.com. We won't spend too much time on that because we've got the astronomy photo with the day to cover as well. Let's take a look at that. It's of a supernova. And supernovas are believed to destroy stars for some reason. Even though every supernoval cloud seems to have a star in the middle of it, this one is known as SN 2023 RVE from just earlier this year, actually. The supernova was discovered by United Arab Emirates Al Khatim Observatory. Possibly leaving behind a black hole. Anyway, it's in the galaxy NGC 1097, located about 45 light years away from Earth. Come on, then. There you go. There's the animation. The astronomy photo of the day, apod.nasa.gov, if you want to check that out yourself. Supernova 2023 RVE. And let's move on to CMEs, since there have been some spectacular ones. And you can see that comet breaking up. So there's yesterday's coronagraph imagery from George Mason University. Here comes this comet from the lower right. There it goes, and now it's gone. So there's a spectacular CME from yesterday. It's behind the northeastern limb, so that is not earthly directed whatsoever. And let's move to today's frames. Here are an additional 39 frames from today, October 11th. It's been pretty chill as far as CMEs today. Let's take a look at some more imagery here. Here is Soho Lascaux C2 and C3. You've got Mercury there moving into the C3 perspective. And here's a little better zoom on that. Let's bring the C3 behind the C2 in terms of time. So again, folks, we are expecting at least two, possibly three CME impacts in the coming 36 hours. as well as a coronal hole high-speed stream. We'll also show stereo A. There's some spectacular imagery from that. Feel free to pause the video on this frame if you're not familiar with where those are located. Stereo A is this red circle right here, just to the west of Earth. There you've got the difference imagery on the right, raw coronagraph on the left. There's that spectacular CME, which largely came out of the northeastern limb. Again, it is behind the sun. It's sort of on the opposite side. We don't anticipate there to be any earthly directed components for that spectacular CME there that occurred around midday yesterday. You can see that huge filament there hanging out, and you can expect that filament to eject, as that filament is absolutely massive. That is actually the John Kotowski filament. Speaking of filaments, and we're actually going to show those CMEs here before we go to filaments. So let's show CMEs. There we go. There's 304 angstroms plus Soho Lasco C2 NC3. It's a 24-hour video. Here's a closer zoom. And you won't see any plasma motions associated with that CME out of the east. That coronal mass ejection, again, it is behind the solar limb there. There we've actually added 193 angstroms. You can only use 3 layers to make a helio viewer movie at a time, so since we zoomed into the Lasco C2, we added 193 angstroms. And before we look at filaments there from the El Teide, Spain ground-based solar observatory, there you go. There is 304 plus 335 angstroms. And huge filament right here, huge filament here, and huge filament there. And the El Teide, Spain will give even better contrast, so let's switch to that. There's the ground-based hydrogen alpha telescope. So several filaments there, could get names. If you want to name filaments after living people, friends, foes, even yourself, join us over on Twitter. Just follow the hashtag #NameThatFilament. Thanks to our new Twitter followers. x.com/smashomash. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter. I don't really care what the ridiculous branding is. Here is the grayscale imagery. And again, you can expect a CME to pop off in the northwestern limb. That's going to happen. Some of that material is going to eject. So you can expect that. It's not going to be earthly directed because it's behind the limb already. So expect a CME up here from the northwest. Those are just facts. We realized we could forecast CMEs years ago. We just stopped doing it. Why? Because it didn't increase our views on YouTube. Yes, we realized that we could forecast coronal mass ejections before they left the solar corona. We just didn't do it because, again, it didn't do anything for us. And if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Anyway, here's the past couple of hours, and you can see that massive filament there getting ready to release. Some of it might collapse. Some of it might re-anchor itself. Some of it is going to go blasting off into the greater solar system. So that's the GOES 16 SUVI. Again, the last about 2.5 hours there. We'll zoom all the way out. And that will be continuing to stream at smashomash.com/smashteam, the Twitch channel, etc. And let's get to our bonus feature segment. We don't want the video to be too lengthy, and it's already getting kind of lengthy. Here is the satellite charging scenario. We don't have any satellite charging hazards at the moment. None on the surface or none on the internal charging variety. The GOES electron flux here is kind of low, and that was in the forecast, but we don't see the CME impacts or the coronal hole high-speed stream yet. That might be waiting for us in that North Pole current sheet, but we will be monitoring that throughout the day. Next, the 1-year graph of the electron flux. There are the relativistic electrons for the past year from Solon.info. Once again, very low levels, and you can expect them to be even lower when we see space weather arrive, and it's coming. So there's the NOAA forecast. NOAA's expecting lower levels as well. We agree with the NOAA forecast, represented by the green boxes. We'll also show the layer where the relativistic electrons are measured using radiography from the geosynchronous orbits of the GOES 16 and GOES 18, the F layer of the ionosphere, located right there at about 300 kilometers of altitude. There it is in vibrational frequency. And we're seeing a little bit of a reduction of the high-frequency anomalies here. Primarily high-frequency anomalies, but some low-frequency anomalies showing up here. We'll have a lot less blue on the anomalygram than we've seen the past few days. And if that ionogram is Greek to you, don't worry. Here's the anomalygram depicting anomaly in megahertz from a 30-day median. So again, a lot less blue on the graph there, and you can expect to see a lot more red as there are some geomagnetic storm conditions possibly coming, at least geomagnetic unrest conditions. Even NOAA agrees with that. CMEs and a coronal hole high-speed stream are about to arrive. Anyway, let's show the latest image. There it is, 12 o'clock universal time for the ionogram, 12:15 universal time for the anomalygram. We also show the whole atmospheric, what is it called? The whole atmospheric model, the WHAM. WHAM! There's the whole atmospheric model depicting the total electron content and anomaly and the maximum usable frequency and anomaly. This is good for GPS and radio operators. So we like to show the nowcast, not the forecast, because the forecast is known to change when space weather arrives, so we'd rather just show the nowcast, if that makes sense. Total electron content and maximum usable frequency there. We're also going to show total electron content by itself, especially over North America. It's free electrons to about 12,500 miles of altitude. Your GPS unit has to communicate through the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt, the outer plasmasphere, the inner Van Allen belt, the inner plasmasphere, and the ionosphere to get its signal down to your handset. Free electrons cause signal refraction, and that is what you're seeing here. There's your total electron content forecast. It's still looking jacked up. I don't know what's up with it. It's showing a shockingly low level of electrons there, and I don't like it, because the anomaly from the 10-day average over North America looks totally normal. So there's something wrong with its CTIPE, the total electron content forecast, the coupled thermosphere, ionosphere, plasmasphere electrodynamics model. This is the anomaly from 10-day average over North America. And we are seeing some high electron counts there over North America. And we're going to close out space weather as we do with the latest high-res images. So we'll get our last peek at this sunspot group. There it is. It has been degrading for the past few days, but that is one of the most massive sunspots of solar cycle 25. It still does have the capacity to produce large solar flares. It is at least beta-gamma class. I don't think it's beta gamma delta class anymore, though. But its proximity to the limb is alone enough of a reason to expect it to produce large solar flares. Next, this group, that's just beta class, maybe beta gamma. This group here is beta gamma delta class all day. There you go. Great example of a beta gamma delta class sunspot, the most likely classification to produce large flares. And then over here, we've just got a whole series of sunspots. So let's just do a run on that. That one's that's at least beta gamma class, maybe beta gamma delta. This one here is beta gamma delta class. Looks like. This one down here, that's looking like it's at least beta gamma class. This one up here looks like it's beta gamma delta class. This one here is just beta class, or maybe beta gamma, not beta gamma delta. And up there, another active region there rising in the northeast. So that's just a beta class sunspot there. It hasn't been super active. Let's look at this active region real quick. No new sunspots there. So again, it looks like the sunspot number is going to be fairly flat here in the coming days. And let's switch to meteorology. It's time to shift gears to Earth's weather as we bring you the weather all the way from the sun all the way down to the lower 48. So first we're going wave chasing, and check it out. Some massive waves in the central western Pacific. I guess it's the northwestern Pacific. And there are some nearly 50 footers up there. Those are by far the world's largest waves. At least some 45 footers there. So that depicts significant wave height and surface winds. Those are the stormiest seas in the world, folks. Also some significant waves there between Norway and Iceland. Anyway, here comes a bunch of weather. Let's blast through it. Here is the surface wind scenario for the eastern world. Shout out to our viewers from all around the planet. Here are the jet streams of the east. Major signal in the jet stream there above that typhoon. And that is a major typhoon, by the way. Here are the jet streams of the central world. Shout out to our viewers from Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. Here are the surface winds from the central world. There you can see that low off the coast of Norway. It's quite large, and it's quite in charge of the weather all around the North Sea. Here are the surface winds of the west. Shout out to our viewers from the Americas. And here are the jet streams of this side of the planet. Strong jet streams over the eastern U.S. here at the moment. And some cold air being blasted down into the Pacific Northwest. Here's your pressure map. That is mean right there. That is just mean. The mean sea level pressure. And the portion of the U.S. west of the Mississippi there dominated by low pressure. Also some heavy weather showing up in Mexico and the Gulf. We'll get to it. That is your mean sea level pressure from windy.com. And here is your clouds and fog map. And we've stopped following that loitering low over Canada. It's losing its excitement. It is still loitering there, though. You can see right there, boom, loitering low over Canada. And here's the one we're going to pay attention to today. Heavy metal weather making its way across Mexico and in the Gulf. So that's going to bring some heavy rains to the Gulf states like the Florida Panhandle, while snow is coming once again to the Rockies. So there's your weather.gov map, and you can see winter weather warnings there, especially in Wyoming. Wyoming is going to get blanketed. Most of the state is going to be white. Here, not even 2 weeks into October. Also a bunch of frost warnings there in the eastern U.S., and here come some forecasts. We'll start out with the GFS 72-hour pressure and precipitation. There you can see all that snow in Wyoming and some heavy rains to hit especially northern Florida. It'll also sweep across Georgia and southern South Carolina as a low moves almost due east from Wyoming in the coming days. Here is your snow accumulation forecast. That's the GFS 72-hour total accumulated snow forecast in inches. And there are some areas there which are looking like they're getting over 2 feet of snow in Wyoming. The high mountains of Wyoming there are going to see over 2 feet. And significant areas there over 6 inches. Most of the state to be blanketed. Also Colorado, Utah, Montana, Idaho, South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska, Nevada, Utah. If I already said Utah, well then I'm sorry I said it twice. Also Washington and Oregon and small portions of California, even expecting to see some snow there. Next, total accumulated precipitation forecast. And most of that rain is going to rain itself out, but there will be some heavy rains in the Florida Panhandle again. So we're going to see like 4 inches of rain in some spots there, some isolated zones. Also some heavy rains there coming to Wyoming, South Dakota. Well, you see the map, 72-hour GFS. Total accumulated precipitation forecast in inches. Also 2 bands of heavy rain coming to the Pacific Northwest. It's pretty moist. Last but not least, the jet stream, which is in control of your weather. And there's going to be some major temperature anomalies once again as the jet stream dips down, bringing cold air across the U.S. once again for another wave of early season frost. 72-hour, 250 millibar wind forecast from the GFS model, courtesy of Tropical Tidbits. And here is the temperature anomaly forecast. We show 3-day forecasts because they tend to be accurate. Yeah, humans, we're able to forecast the weather out 3 days. Beyond that, not so much. So that's the scenario. Here is lightning. The lightning mapper is back online. And the heaviest lightning in the past about 10 hours was across Missouri. A little bit of isolated activity in Texas. And some thunderclaps happening in the Gulf. So that's our real-time lightning map from lightningmaps.org. Next time you hear thunder, I would recommend it. I use it on the regs when I hear thunder. I want to know where where the lightning actually struck. We do have some minor activity here in Iowa and, Missouri. A little bit of lightning activity there. And on a global scale, we're seeing about 160 strikes per minute. We'll close out the video with the latest U.S. Doppler radar map, clouds and fog, and the water vapor. Let's zoom out to show the full 50-state view here briefly, as we do have viewers from Alaska. Last I checked, there is the full 50-state view. As you can see, heavy rain there making its way across the Gulf states. Here is clouds and fog. Lots of convection happening there. The water is still quite warm in the Gulf. And there is the water vapor map. You can see that jet stream convergence happening there. Here's a recap, U.S. Doppler radar. That's a depiction of vertical motion in the air column. This is a depiction of infrared radiation in the air column. It shows clouds and fog, even at nighttime. It's still dark over half the country. And here is the water vapor map. It shows all the water vapor. Because, folks, dry skies are just as important as moist skies. Why? Because dry air is more massive than moist air, and that's where we'll close things out as we empower our viewers to forecast the weather all the way from space down to Earth. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Once again, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. I'll see you soon. I've got to head back to the bunker because I'm spooked of all the space going on. Oh no, the galaxy! Look out, galaxy! So I'm headed back to the bunker. And while I'm gone, may that solar wind be at your back. I'm going back to the bunker again. Yada yada, stupid stuff. Encourage me to get in.